If the Cavs and Warriors face off in the finals, it'll be the first time the same two teams have faced each other in the finals for 3 straight years. Now, speaking of the Cavaliers, the defending champion team, they're entering the season as prohibitive favorites to win the Eastern Conference at 1-4. The next closest team, the Boston Celtics, at 8-1. So the question is, who is the biggest threat to LeBron James making it to his 7th consecutive NBA Finals, Max?
I mean, the real answer is injury or the Cavs themselves.
Yeah.
Because the fake answer is the Boston Celtics. I mean, if the question is who's the second best team in the East, I suspect it'll be the Celtics. They're on the way up. They have a great young coach in Brad Stevens. They add Al Horford, who, when you really think about the way the modern NBA game is played, there are only a handful of bigs who play it just the way you want at the 5, at the 4 or the 5. And Al Horford's one of them. You know, you think of Draymond Green for Golden State. You think Karl Anthony Towns will be a super Draymond Green eventually and already may be in the discussion among the elite this season. And Horford actually belongs in that kind of group. He can do just about all the things you want a big to do. You add that to a team that, while they did, look, Horford's not the kind of guy who's going to dominate a playoff series. But you add that component to a team that was looking to get over the top, and it doesn't get them over the top in terms of the Cavs, obviously. But it probably gets them over the top compared to the rest of the Eastern Conference.
Well, that's not a bad pick. I'm proud of your analogy. Didn't know you knew that much about basketball, but I will tell you this. I'm still not willing to go that far. I don't underestimate it. I'm a fan of Brad Stevens. I love me some Isaiah Thomas. I'm not as enamored with the pickup of Al Horford as much as everybody else is. But I will say this. I'm not underestimating or sleeping on the Indiana Pacers. Jeff Teague, point guard out of Atlanta, picked up by Larry Bird in the offseason. That's a huge acquisition because, listen, we all like George Hill and what have you and what he brought to the table because he had a lot of guts. He could hit big shots and whatever. But he wasn't your quintessential prototypical point guard. Jeff Teague has proven to be a quality point guard in this league. He desperately wanted out of Atlanta. He got what he wanted. Paul George is a star. And remember that last year, even after averaging 23 points a game, he was coming off that nasty injury. Now he's got a year under his belt, plus he participated in an Olympic competition. He'll be ready to go, okay? Listen, I look at all of those things, and I look at Miles Turner, who's shown promise as well. I look at CJ. I think about him. I think of what he brings to the table, CJ Miles. I'm just saying, Paul George, that backcourt, that experience with the new coach, Nate McMillan, now in play as well. I think all of those things bode well for Indiana. I'm not going to sit up there and poo-poo the Boston pick. I'm not going to sleep on my Knicks because I'm hoping they will show up. But I will tell you that in this day and age, in this game, when you are locked in with a damn good backcourt that can produce for you on both ends of the floor, I don't underestimate the impact of that. Isaiah Thomas in Boston, you still have an identity issue with the Boston Celtics when they start him as a point because he's really better off the ball than he is on the ball in a lot of people's eyes.
I disagree with that.
What I'm just saying, in a lot of aficionados' eyes, he is better off the ball. They play with him shooting as opposed to running the show. They play better that way. But Jeff Teague, no one questions what he is as a point guard. I can't knock that.
I agree. I was surprised at how easy it was for them to pick up Teague. But I want to say something about Isaiah Thomas because it pertains to my Boston pick. Isaiah Thomas has always been underrated. He's signed right now to a deal under $7 million a year, which was insane when the Suns stole him for that money. He's an excellent offensive player who's an underrated decision maker with the ball. I want to say that. Also, speaking of backcourts, you can't sleep on Toronto. Masai Ujiri is an excellent GM. As soon as he left Denver, their fortunes went straight down. And the Raptors can't be slept on.
Don't go all over there. The point is, you said Boston. And I'm telling you, when it comes to decision making, Isaiah Thomas is questionable.
Underrated.
Offensively, he's big time. He can put the ball in the hole. He can make big shots. Decision-making, even the Boston Celtics concede. At times, it's problematic with him and Avery Bradley in the lineup. That's a fact.
It's all about second place in the East. Coming up next, we go to the West Coast. Tracy McGrady joining the conversation. There he is. How are we doing? He'll be with us in just a moment, talking NBA super teams and so much more. Stay here.
Welcome to the T-Max Show.
T-Max to the rack. Oh, Tracy McGrady. Great low post position. Scores. McGrady to the rim. Oh, the lob to McGrady.
There he is. Our next guest was a 7-time All-Star, led the league in scoring 2 times, and will be on the ballot for the Basketball Hall of Fame class of 2017. We welcome in Tracy McGrady, who will join Michelle Beadle, Chauncey Billups, and Jalen Rose on NBA Countdown, which debuts tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Tracy, appreciate you being with us.
Thank you, Molly.
All right, let's get right into it. We know the old saying, if you can't beat them, join them. That's what Kevin Durant did, joining a Warriors team.
With that, huh?
Right? You know it. That won an NBA record 73 games. Tracy, are super teams good for the NBA?
No, not at all. I like parity. I like competition. I like for the superstars to be spread it out and going against each other. And let me say this before I get into it, is a lot of these guys think, you know, when you're done playing in the league and you come on here and be an NBA analyst, they think when you criticize or have some sort of opinion that they don't agree with the opposition, they think that we're hating on them. This is not the case. You know, we're just voicing our opinion and giving, you know, answers that we feel that we're suitable to. Well, you know, and I think, you know, the super teams, no, they're not good. I would say that Kevin Durant going to the Golden State Warriors is a no-no. Well, I don't understand that.
Well, take my advice like you usually do, my little brother right there, and just understand that just don't give a damn about what they think.
No.
As long as you're honest about it, that's all that matters, bro. That's all that matters. I know you know. I'm just reiterating it. Let me get to my question, because I want to make sure that you understand where I'm coming from. I considered the move by Kevin Durant, no disrespect, to be the weakest move I've ever seen by a superstar.
I agree with you.
Now, but there are people that would look at a Tracy McGrady and say, well, you were willing to join up in Orlando when you and Grant Hill were supposed to hook up. What was the difference between that move and this move by Kevin Durant?
Are you serious? I mean, we really going to go there?
I'm just asking a question.
First of all, Orlando was nothing before we got there. They hadn't even made the playoffs. They missed the playoffs the previous year. And I wasn't joining a 2-time MVP, the first unanimous MVP of the NBA, or a team that just set the regular season record for wins. So it's no comparison to that.
Tracy, hold on a second. It's okay if there's a super team if it's the Lakers. Look, Magic might be the best point guard ever, probably was. Kareem, the best center ever. Worthy a top 10 small forward ever. Same team, no problem. Bulls, greatest player ever. Scottie Pippen, top 10 small forward ever. Dennis Rodman, top 5 defensive player.
They were drafted and traded for.
So it's okay if the GM puts it together, but not the players?
That's what I was about to say. They was drafted and traded for.
What difference does that make?
It's a big difference.
Free agents. It's a big difference.
What difference does that make?
It's a big difference.
The team exists. Who cares how it came together?
Because we're talking about Kevin Durant.
I'm asking Tracy.
Max, we're talking about one of the best players in the world, top 3 best players in the world.
Easy.
And he's not, it's not like he left a team that wasn't a championship contending team. I have no problem with KD leaving OKC. The problem is you can't go and join the team that you had down.
If you were in the league when Jordan was in his prime, if you were in the league when Jordan was in his prime with Pippen and Robin, you'd have had to join up with Kobe and Vince Carter and 10 other guys like that to compete with Jordan. You wouldn't have done that?
If anybody has some sympathy for KD, it should be me. I'm a guy that struggled to make it to the second round. So I don't have no sympathy for that. I'm old school, man. I want the best to go against the best.
That's what's happening. It's a testament to LeBron James's greatness that he has to join up with the Warriors.
He's in the Eastern Conference. KD is in the West.
He's trying to win chips.
Here, listen, I'm going to move on because Max's position on this is pathetic, and I don't have the patience for it today. I really, really don't. Let me ask you about LeBron James, because we've seen LeBron James perform. He's obviously a 3-time champion now, been to 6 consecutive NBA Finals, 7 overall. You get to a point where you start asking, how much of a window does he have left? He's clearly the best player in the world. Clearly. He's proven it. How much time do you think he has left as the best player in basketball?
I think LeBron has about 2 more years as the best player, head above, you know, everybody else. And what I think will give him the leash to, you know, kind of have that 2-year window is you got a guy like Kyrie Irving that can carry him throughout the regular season, where he could kind of coast and kind of reserve his energy a little bit until you get to the playoffs. Not having somebody like Kyrie that can carry him like that, I think it'll wear on him throughout the regular season, and carrying on to the playoffs where it'll wear him down some more. So he has about 2 more years to where he's the best player, clearly above everybody else.
Tracy, settle this one for us. Carmelo took exception with his top 15 ranking, the 15th. I think anywhere between 10 and 15 is perfectly okay for Carmelo. I might have him 13, but I think 15 is fair. Stephen A. thinks it's blasphemous. Who's right?
Well, I'll say this. I think that ranking is based off of Melo's season last year, which is understandable because he's coming off a knee surgery. But looking at Melo in the Olympics this year, there's no way there's 15 guys better than him. Absolutely not.
Are there 10 guys better than him?
No, Melo is in my top 10. After what I saw in the Olympics, Melo is still top 10 to me.
Well, I'm not even going by the Olympics. I'm going by the fact that he's 6'8", he's 240, he can score from anywhere. He can score with his back to the basket, he can score face to the basket, he can score from the free throw line, he can score beyond the three-point line. My only issue with Melo is the only thing that I think he should be held accountable for from this day forward. He's hold on, T. He's too great to lose to anybody other than the caliber of a LeBron James and people like that. If it ain't LeBron, if it ain't the Steph Curry, well, he's in the Eastern Conference.
Year.
Wait a minute. I don't want to see losses to DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry, nothing but respect. I don't want to see a loss to Paul George. I don't want to see a loss to Isaiah Thomas. See a loss to Serge Ibaka and whoever the hell else they have in Orlando, or to Dwight Howard and whoever the hell else they have, or Daniel Schrader or whatever. I don't want to hear that. Schroeder, I'm sorry. I don't want to hear that. I want Melo, if you're going to go down swinging to LeBron, because I covered a guy by the name of Allen Iverson. Defensively, those names were worthy of mentioning. But offensively, I don't even want to bring the names up. It was Allen Iverson and everybody else, and he carried the team on his back to the NBA Finals. Melo, to me, should not let anyone other than LeBron get in his way. To that, you say what?
Well, to that, I say don't overlook a team like Indiana Pacers with Paul George on there. I mean, Paul George is a superstar in this league. You just can't overlook him, you know. But I would say this. Melo being the type of scorer that he is, one thing that, you know, I always felt to go up against LeBron and give his team's problem is you got to have somebody that could put the ball in the hoop like Melo. On the other end, you got to make LeBron work. If you sit back and let LeBron off the hook to where he could kind of coast on the defensive end, and then on the other end, he's going to kill you because he's a very smart basketball player. He's one of the best endurance players in our league. So I always felt like Melo, if you give him a little bit of help, that he's that guy that can elevate his team past somebody like LeBron because he'll give him fits on the offensive end.
Poof is all I have to say.
Tracy, now you see what I deal with. Thank you for putting up with these two. We appreciate the time and looking forward to seeing you on Countdown this season. It's going to be fun.
Thank you, guys.
Coming up after the break, the guys will tell you if the Clippers will accomplish something they have never done before. Stay tuned. Hello again. We're going to play a little game of NBA fact or fiction. Here's how it works. I'm going to read you a line, and you tell me if it's fact or fiction. Are we ready, gentlemen?
Let's go.
Let's do it. Westgate has set the Clippers over-under at 54.5 wins, third most in the Western Conference behind the Warriors and Spurs. Max Kellerman, fact or fiction, the Clippers will play in the Western Conference Finals this season.
Fact, and I'll tell you why. Doc Rivers will not allow this era to pass. That at least the Western Conference Finals appearance. This is his best chance this year. CP3 and Blake, both top 10 players. DeAndre, an all-star, and the Western Conference because Durant going to the Warriors and Duncan's retirement is a little weaker. This is the year they do it. They lose to the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals.
As much as I hope you're right, I'm going to call it fiction because I have to see it to believe it. Blake Griffin, this has got to be his year. Him and Chris Paul can opt out and be unrestricted free agents this summer. They certainly will be motivated to prove themselves. DeAndre Jordan has to hit free throws. And even though you've got a lot of guards, Raymond Felton is there now, the backup of Chris Paul. Austin Rivers is still there. Mba and Butte, he's going to be there. Him and Rivers are defensive guys that struggle offensively from time to time. I'm not sure about that. I look at the Spurs acquiring Pau Gasol, who's a better version of what Tim Duncan was last year, along with David Lee, who can do some things as well, keeping the rest of the nucleus in place with Kawhi Leonard and LaMarcus Aldridge. I'm going to say the Spurs. I'm going to give them the edge to meet Golden State in the conference finals rather than the Clippers right now.
Spurs still vulnerable to young athletic teams. We saw last year.
All right, let's talk about your Knicks, gentlemen. With the additions of Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah, Westgate set the over-under wins for the Knicks at 40.5, which is 9th best in the East. Fact or fiction, the Knicks will win a playoff series this year. Stephen A.
I'm going to say fact. I'm going to go with it because I'm putting the pressure on Carmelo Anthony to deliver the goods. He is a superstar offensive player in this game when he is healthy. You've got Kristaps Porzingis, who's a 7'1" scorer and very, very capable. You added veterans in Joakim Noah and Derrick Rose. Courtney Lee, although I would have preferred Dwayne Wade, Courtney Lee is still a damn good player. When I look at all of those things into consideration, along with Hornacek, convincing Phil Jackson, you don't have to use the triangle all the time. This should be the year the Knicks can win a playoff series similar to what Mike Woodson did about 3 or 4 years ago.
Fiction, they'll make the playoffs. They won't win a series. The problem is timing. Porzingis is not yet in his prime. Carmelo is exiting his. Derrick Rose can't shoot. Good thing they have Courtney Lee, because in a couple of years that contract's not going to look so great. But right now, he can shoot and defend, which is what they need. But the pieces aren't going to come together at the right time for the Knicks for them to take that next step or 2 steps and not only make it, but win a series this year.
Tough for you to say. Stephen A. trying to speak it into existence. Last one, James Harden moving to point guard is now playing for Mike D'Antoni. Fact or fiction? Is it a good idea for the Rockets to move Harden to point guard? Max.
Yes. First of all, Mike D'Antoni knows offense. He knows how to use his offense. When he has a muse, even if it's like, forget about Steve Nash, a Jeremy Lin, he can make great things happen offensively. And James Harden's really the point guard anyway. He's the primary ball handler. The offense runs through him. So the difference is D'Antoni will get him to make quicker decisions, get rid of the ball quicker. It'll make Harden a better player.
I think Harden's already a superstar in this league. He already averaged 7.5 assists last year. But I would say fiction. I don't think it's a good move because D'Antoni doesn't prioritize defense. He's going to prioritize more offense. And I think that in Houston, with James Harden being the man, as opposed to what he was in Oklahoma City beforehand, I think he's addicted to having the ball and shooting when he wants, and that's never, ever good for a point guard. I do not believe that would be to his benefit.
Point guard, that role has changed over the years. Many more penetrating, scoring first point guards nowadays. I think Harden fits.
I'm just saying I think that Harden's going to shoot more than he'll ever pass. That's all I'm saying.
Well, he does that now.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point.
Oh, D'Antoni, D'Antoni thinks that'll make the offense better.
And what is that? How's that work for D'Antoni?
Offensively, very well.
Welcome to my life. That'll do it for us, people. Make sure to catch First Take Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN2. Appreciate you hanging with us. Have a great night.